the beginning of the real people long before America had a name, before borders were drawn across the land. There was a people who called themselves Anivuya, the real people. They were not defined by lines on a map, nor by the idea of ownership. Their identity was something deeper, something rooted in spirit, in land, and in a way of seeing the world that cannot be easily translated into modern words. The Cherokee lived for centuries in the vast and fertile lands of what is now known as the southeastern United States. Their homes stretched across forests, mountains, and rivers, especially within the ancient and mist-covered Appalachian Mountains. These lands were not just where they lived. They were part of who they were. To the Cherokee, the earth was not a resource to be used, but a living presence to be respected. The mountains were ancient guardians. The rivers were pathways of life. The forests were filled with voices, stories, and unseen forces that guided and taught those who knew how to listen. In this world, nothing existed without meaning. Every sound, every movement, every change in the wind carried a message. Life was not separate from nature. It was deeply intertwined with it. And so, from the very beginning, the Cherokee people lived not above the land, but within it. Not as masters of nature, but as part of its great and balanced design. A life of balance and connection, Cherokee life was built upon harmony, not only among people, but between all living things. Their communities were carefully formed, often near rivers that provided water, food, and connection to the surrounding world. Villages were not random settlements, but places of meaning, where every structure and every path had its purpose. Families lived together as part of a greater whole. Children were not raised by individuals alone, but by the wisdom of the entire community. Elders held a place of deep respect, for they carried the memory of generations, stories, lessons, and traditions that shaped the identity of the people. Knowledge was not written in books. It was spoken, lived, and remembered, passed from voice to voice, from fire to fire, from one generation to the next. Stories were more than entertainment. They were guidance. They taught respect, courage, patience, and the importance of balance in all things. The Cherokee understood that life required harmony. Too much of anything could bring imbalance. Too much taking from the land, too much pride, too much anger. All of these could disrupt the natural order. And so, their way of life was guided by awareness. A quiet understanding that every action had consequence, and that true strength came not from control, but from balance, spirit, identity, and the path. Ahead to be Cherokee was not simply to belong to a place. It was to follow a way of being. It meant living with respect for the land, for others, and for the unseen forces that moved through all things. It meant understanding that life was a journey, one that required humility, patience, and a deep connection to something greater than oneself. The natural world was not separate from the spiritual world. They were one and the same. Every river carried spirit. Every animal held meaning. Every moment offered a chance to learn, to grow, and to walk in balance. This way of life shaped the Cherokee people into a nation of resilience, wisdom, and deep spiritual awareness. A people who understood that true power does not come from domination, but from connection. But this is only the beginning of their story. In the chapters that follow, we will explore the ancient origins of the Cherokee people, the stories that defined them, and the challenges that would test their strength and identity in ways they could never have imagined. This is more than history. It is a journey into a way of seeing the world, one that still carries meaning today. If this story resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. To support this journey of history and wisdom, your like helps this story reach more people, and your thoughts in the comments keep this conversation alive. Thank you for being here, and for walking this path with us. And if you are willing to listen, the story of the real people is only just beginning.